guys, Holly Browning here with Family Research Tips and Tricks. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about a frequent question among American researchers, and that is, how do I prove my Native American roots? I know a lot of us have heard stories about our backgrounds, and a lot of people just kind of want to verify that, there are actually some Native American DNA in there. So the first thing is that you're going to have to do a little bit of research on your own. There's no one there's no big database that has names of every tribe member and every tribe. It's definitely not that easy. So you're going to have to do your own research before you actually jump into Native American records specifically. So with that being said, statistics say, and of course we know how statistics go, but they say if you have an early American ancestor from, let's say 1800 to 1810, there is a 50% chance that one of them was a Native American ancestor. So, I mean, that was actually very surprising to me. I didn't know that's kind of a big percentage there. So, let's see here. The premier resource for Native American records is called the BIA, and that's what I have pulled up on the screen here. It is the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and this website is actually an official website of the American government. And what it has here is it has a place where you can go. I'm going to scroll down here where it says Discover, and it'll say, here it says Track Your Ancestry. So I'm going to click on that to kind of show you exactly kind of what they say to researchers. So here it says, establishing American Indian or Alaskan Native ancestry. And it has the 3 reasons that they say someone will, seek to establish the Native American ancestry. And one is, that you have a lineal ancestor, a biological parent or grandparent who is an American Indian from a federally recognized tribe. Other ones are you want to identify which tribe your ancestor was a member of. And the other one could be you actually want to enroll yourself, which you can do, but there are steps that you have to take and documents that you have to provide the Bureau before that can happen. They also have, on here, they have services and benefits and what you would need to do for enrollment in a federally recognized tribe. Now, with that being said, there are over 550 federally recognized tribes in the United States. And you're going to hear a lot, though, of the 5 civilized tribes. And that was, the civilized tribe part was something that was worded kind of in the late 1800s, and that would be for kind of the 5 tribes that assimilated the most with the Anglo-Saxon culture, so to speak. And those 5 are Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminole. And, just when you get the general idea of your tribal affiliation, you kind of know where exactly you can start looking. So let's see here. The one thing that you can do to start is you have to start with your own research. So when you go to look into your background and your tree, you're going to start recognizing, you need to start looking at names, surnames, names that you would think that there are very unique, obviously, names and surnames that are identified with Native American culture. A lot of them you wouldn't think, but some obviously are names that you would see mostly, for that. You can check the race in the census. Now, not all the time did they put an I for Indian. A lot of the times they would just put white, just depending on where and who was doing the census. But some of the times you can check in the race column in the census to see if it was marked different than what you would think. It's always the first step to look for. It's also important in any time when you're researching to know the history. So to know, like for example, where the Cherokee were located, and we also have to remember that in 1830 they had the Indian Removal Act, which a lot will remember as the Trail of Tears. I know we've all heard about that, where sadly the Indians were pushed farther west from their homelands and ended up on reservations. So it's kind of important to know where they were before that and where the group settled. So there are a ton of maps online that will show you the migration patterns of the tribes. And that's really kind of important, because if you are from an area that was Cherokee land or Seminole land, you're going to want to know that, because that gets you one step closer to a lot of the things that you're looking for. Let's see here. So you also want to know the ones that they had, so many of them went, but there are ones that stayed in the area. And a lot of the times, especially I know in my background, some of the white settlers would intermarry with the Native Americans, and that actually happened quite a bit. And when that happened, sometimes they just went ahead and kind of assimilated right into culture and were marked as white on the census, and then the Native American lineage was then a hand-me-down story. It couldn't really be documented in that way. So that's why it's important to know the geography in the area. So let's see here. So for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, they have absolutely everything that you would need to kind of get you step by step going, on what you would need, especially if you're wanting to, be enrolled in a federally recognized tribe. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that if you have Native American ancestry, unless you want some of the benefits, and I don't know all the benefits that it provides. I'm sure it does provide some benefits, but that's just, basically federally recognized. So on Ancestry, I have pulled up, and you can look at this on Ancestry Library Edition as well if you do not have your own account. So you can look at this for free. So here I have pulled up Ancestry.com, and there's a way that you can look at Native American records specifically, okay? So we're going to go here to the top, and we're going to go to the search button, and we're going to go down to, let's see here, card catalog, okay? All right, so in the card catalog, what you can do is, in the keywords here, you can type in, let's see, we'll type in Indian, okay? And then it's going to bring you all of the record collections that they have for Native Americans. So on here I see they have 173. So if you're looking to do a more broader research, I suggest this. If you don't really know surnames, you're just trying to start from somewhere, I would definitely do that. On the side here where it says filter by category is where you can start, specifying it down more and more to kind of get where you want. If you're wanting to look at just the birth records, if you're wanting to look at, like I said, they have maps, things like that. That's more of a broader search. So if you're wanting a more specific, let's go back. We're going to go to search. We're going to go to all collections. Let's say you know the last name, okay? And I know in my Ancestry, there's a Fields, and let's say I just know like Tennessee area, just very vague kind of. And then you'll go down a little bit, and there is a little spot here where you will see, it's called Collection Focus right here, okay? And you can actually hit that, and I already have it set. It has different ethnicities and different areas as well. I went ahead and set mine to Native American, okay? So it's going to bring up those records, okay, that are centered around that. Now, as you can see, there's 150,000 records there, so it's still quite a lot to start going through. So you're going to want to keep filtering on the side here, depending on the records that you're looking at, until you get down to the nitty gritty. So put in as much as you know, and you might have, you might spend a lot of time there, but you'll eventually get there to, start finding the things you need to document. Or if you just, you're documenting it for yourself and your, your descendants and your kids, and you want to keep those stories in the family, this would be, a great way to do that. So good luck on your search, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you.